motherfucking question they always ask me. Do I get high off my own supply? Shut the fuck up, mind your business. Do I get high off my own supply? 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 Guess what? Hell yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Who is that?
Stitches. I'll show you some more after we're done recording, but
Man, you have to see the video for it.
it's fucking great.
This guy is...
A piece of work.
Yeah.
If you showed me that, I would immediately assume it's DMX. Is he supposed to be going for that?
When you see him,
guess.
it will make more sense, but yes. Okay. Anywho, welcome to
He looks like how Chad from Mudvayne used to look with his makeup, except without the makeup. Like, it looks like the makeup is his face.
Anyway.
Okay.
Like how he had the mohawk and, like, the
Right.
weird clown makeup, except it's, like, just tattooed on his face.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Do we want to...
You want to open with that, or
Should we, like, just introduce ourselves in our...
bless you?
Sorry.
I brought this up, like, very briefly last time. I think we should, like, each podcast, we should introduce each other with, like, nicknames, like wrestling nicknames and shit.
I can't come up with that off
Like,
the
Matt
top
was
of my
just
head.
doing his Ric Flair woo, and I think that's...
Woo! Matt the Ric Flair Hallman.
Matt the Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Move the mic.
Moving the mic. We've been having some technical difficulties, so hopefully this sounds okay, because it's been kind of a pain in the ass getting this to work. But welcome to the podcast. This is, what, the fourth one we're doing?
Fourth, I
Fourth.
believe. Yeah.
Fourth. Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Matt
But we only
the
have
Ric-
myself, Brandon, Johnny, and Matt here. Brandon is on his way into town. We're actually going to practice here in a bit. But we'll get started with a topic. And Ghost will probably continue barking in the background.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's dog.
Should we launch into the...
Brad, turn off your phone!
Sorry. Should
Podcast!
we go into...
Serious business!
Shut up.
God fucking damn it, Brandon!
Now everyone can hear the abuse that I get.
Yeah.
Assholes. Should we go into the quirks while eating thing? Or?
Yeah, we could.
All right. So to continue what I was saying earlier with right before we hit the record button was, Matt, you have a tendency when you eat food to generally like kind of like slurp or to like almost like you're eating everything through a straw, kind of.
Very caveman-esque.
Yes. And
It's the last time I'm ever going to eat. Must consume.
Generally, like, at the end of every bite or, like, every, like, big, like, portion of food, you just hear...
Yep.
Mm.
And it's been that way since I've known you, and it's always been pretty humorous. But I don't know if like that goes on like when I'm not around, like, or if you do that like normally or something.
I don't know. It's like typically when you have a tick, you don't know it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I don't know.
Well, we were talking about this because we got lunch at Subway earlier, and Brandon brought this to my attention a few days ago, and I guess I never really noticed, but apparently I just have, like, this habit or tick or something like that where, like, if I have, like, something in my hand, like, I don't know, like a TV remote, or, like, in this case, it was my sandwich that I was eating, and if I'm kind of spacing out, I tend to kind of, like, bob it in my hand,
Like bounce in his hand.
like I'm feeling its weight.
Yeah,
I guess.
like he's like using it, like his hand is like he's a human like weighing, just like he just weighs
Like
it,
a scale,
Yeah,
I
he's
guess.
like a scale right
I
there.
don't know if I've ever noticed that.
He
Yeah.
does it like constantly. Just notice the next time, especially when he eats sandwiches or anything like
I
that.
just kind of do.
It's
Obviously,
not-
you can't see it,
And
but
it's not that. It's not that. It's always like if he has a sandwich, he goes like this. He'll take a bite and then it'll like go like this. It's really subtle, but he just constantly he does it with just about everything. And then with forks and stuff, he has a tendency to like I don't know, use it like a stick of like, you know, if you're like blast beating like with a drumstick or something like that with your fingers.
I would say everybody does something like that though, because that doesn't seem weird to me. You point somebody out to me that is completely still when
No.
they're doing nothing else, then that's what I would think would be weird.
that would be weird.
No, and that's
honestly.
that's the point is everyone kind of has those like certain little things that they do when they eat or something like that, and that's just super interesting. Yeah, they just don't move at all, and it's
Yeah.
just straight from the mouth to the table, and
Yeah.
it just
Well, not just eating. I mean anything. When
Yeah.
you're doing anything.
Yeah.
What's Brandon's then?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I seriously tried to think of something that I do. Obviously, like you said, I probably wouldn't be the best.
Well, yeah, because you're
way-
never
I'm
going to
not
notice.
gonna notice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I never really considered that actually. Now I'm gonna be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, no, please. I would love to know like if there's some small little tick I do when I'm eating or something
Or
like
anything.
that. Yeah, anything. It'd be funny to know. So, but yeah.
So, yeah, I've got a topic I thought of earlier. This is the whole Ebola thing that's going on right now. So this isn't necessarily related to that, but it was the thought was kind of brought on by a story related to that.
Okay.
I saw this this news article, quote unquote, from a publication of dubious reputation.
Okay.
Basically claiming that that Ebola is a hoax, that the current outbreak of it is a hoax. I skimmed through the article because honestly it was just kind of ridiculous.
Right.
It had something to do with blood diamonds and suppressing people, and like how it was like a vaccine that was given to people that gives them Ebola-like symptoms.
Okay.
And I've been seeing it kind of has to do with the advent of social media, like it's conspiracy theories and misinformation. I guess it's me and Brandon have talked about this a few times about the idea that we live in this age of information where like literally the whole of human information and knowledge is available at your fingertips. Like literally, you have a device that in your pocket that you can look up like all this information. And it seems like even though we have all this information, it seems like there's less and less people are inclined to find like good, like truthful information. If that makes sense. Like
right.
the
Okay.
more information,
I see what you're saying.
the more information that's available, the more disinformation or misinformation that people seem to take in.
Yes, I would agree with that, and I would also disagree with that because
Okay.
You can't have both. You gotta either agree with it or not.
Well, because the thing is
Fucking Dr. Phil.
but, I mean, this goes beyond just the Ebola case, but I mean, before the advent of social media and the ability for someone on the other side of the world to report and distribute news at a moment's notice to every other person on the planet, before that occurred, you only had a very limited number of sources for news information, and it was a lot easier for the people that want to believe in conspiracy theories. It would have been a lot easier for the government to control what was allowed or edit what was said over the airwaves. Therefore, much easier to control. So I'm not saying that misinformation isn't around, but just because we got used to 40 years of being fed what other people wanted us to hear doesn't necessarily mean that somebody who reports something on Twitter is untrue. Because that person is providing an unbiased, firsthand, unedited perspective and opinion on something that's going on in real time rather than it getting to the newsroom. If you really want to get deep down the rabbit hole, getting to the newsroom, somebody from the CIA nudging the guys in the newsroom, being like, you know what, this is not what we're going to put on. Yeah, or... And so you never know. I mean,
I agree, and that's why like I generally don't take anything from like major news outlets that seriously either. I mean, I tend to get a lot more like at least a lot more I would say valid information than I would from somewhere like say InfoWars or Secrets of the Federal Reserve or something like that. I mean, because a lot of these, for example, there was this story that came up that me and Brandon like I think Googled and were immediately able to debunk. I can't remember what it was. It was
Was it something about a kid getting like the swatting?
That was it. That was it. The whole this kid got supposedly he got 25 to life for swatting. Which for those of you that don't know.
Just Google it.
Yeah,
just Google it. Yeah. It's basically when someone knows your address and they call the police saying something is wrong, and it sends the SWAT team something big enough to where
it's
they
fucking dumb. Don't ever do it.
Yeah, don't do it. If you do it, I will kick you in the shin.
That's something that could tie into another topic I've kind of got to talk about. But yeah. So supposedly the story was this kid got 25 years or like 25 to life for swatting, and there was a photo of him and everything, and it came from like one of these kind of outer fringe news outlets, but
they made it look super legit because the picture of the kid was like in a courtroom and he was being drug away and he was crying and it was like you could actually like the way that the news story was set up, it made it look very, very convincing.
Yeah, and I had seen this report a couple different times, and like shared by a few different people, and they were all kind of like using this as like an example of like, I don't know, name your scary government monster, the New World Order or whatever. And like I was curious because I didn't know what swatting was, so I Googled it like we just told you to do, and I Googled the story, and then it just like came up Snopes right there. It was like debunked. Like the photo wasn't even of the kid. It was a photo of a completely different person from a completely different case, and it just wasn't true. And like that, I just find it interesting that like
So the picture
It's-
wasn't true, or the story wasn't true.
both.
Both. The
Yeah.
picture was from
Well,
a completely
didn't
different
that
thing.
happen though?
No.
No,
The swatting?
The
no,
swatting happened, but
swatting
the kid
does happen. But that case where like the
kid got 25
picked
to
up,
life.
So what did he get?
He hasn't been charged.
Yeah, the story wasn't even real.
The story was untrue, and so was the picture. The picture that they attached to it had nothing to do with
Right.
the untrue story.
Yeah.
Right, but see, where did you get? What website was that?
Oh, that
I-
was
I-
on a few different websites, and
Yeah,
plus
the
I found the original story that photo was taken from, and it was a kid who actually went on a shooting spree in a mall somewhere in the Midwest, Minnesota or something like that.
and-
And so that's
So
why he was
what's-
crying being
yeah.
taken out of the room.
and it
So
is-
okay,
what's your question?
no, but I guess what are you getting to here? That
What I'm getting to is like it's like I said, I was able to Google it and like do like I hate saying like do your research because it's like such a
well, no,
a
that's
go-to
exactly what it is.
a go-to catchphrase for this
Yeah.
things. But yeah, so I did a little bit of research because again I didn't know what swatting was. That's pretty much what came up with it, and
Mhm.
that led me to finding out this whole story was kind of a load. And my point is in this age where it's easy just to share articles and quote unquote news stories or whatever, it's easy for people to just like see something that kind of like seems outrageous or like really like a eye-catching story or like something that, and a lot of times what supports kind of like their beliefs already, like about
Right.
what have you, the government, religion, anything like that.
And people
and-
don't do their research to see if it's even
Yeah,
credible.
yeah, and it's really easy for like misinformation to be spread just by
Sure.
like people say like and trust me, I don't trust, like I don't believe generally anything the government like tells me. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh
Yeah, but
just
you're-
trust
You're
what everyone
essentially
says.
just talking about rumors, which is a phenomenon that's been happening with the culture of humans since the beginning of time.
It has.
It's just now it's happening on a larger scale. At the same time, people are also just as easily, like you are, able to debunk the rumor. So it's not an issue of
it's true, and that
It
people
has
can
it
do
has
that.
some
I
more
just-
broader implications nowadays than it did back then, because if you figure word of mouth is how most of those rumors traveled,
Sure.
and that's usually where
well,
it
that's what I'm
stayed.
talking about. The scale
Yeah.
it's on
This-
a larger scale.
But that
Yeah.
scale has some more, I guess, broader implications of what actually like people will not only believe but are likely to support, endorse, and or like
yeah, and
therefore
the,
pass as true information
and
when
the-
it's
the
when
format,
if they were to.
the format that's being that these stories are being put in as well. Like, I mean, you can look on like a lot of these stories have been proven to be hoaxes or just wrong, and they look like they're coming from like an actual like news media outlet or something
Right.
that like someone that you would expect to do fact checking and what have you. But it just looks like it looks like it's coming from a legitimate source, and so people that I don't know either I don't want to say are too lazy, but might be too lazy to research it, or like are too I don't know that just believe like pretty much anything that they click on it that looks like somewhat legitimate. It's just easy for them to spread that kind of misinformation, and like I don't know. I feel like to an extent, I don't want to say like spreading information is dangerous because that's
well, it can be. Depends on
but
what you're
yeah,
Totally
to an
can be.
extent, I think it can be dangerous. Like
Mhm.
I mean, like I'm probably gonna get on under some people's skins here, but and I don't know what your guys' opinions are on this, but the vaccines versus anti-vaccines, not having your kids.
It's not
vaccinated,
even an
whatever.
argument. They
But-
work. Do it, or let
and-
your kid die. Your
and,
choice.
and that's kind of my opinion of it too. Is that I mean, science says vaccines work, and there's no link to autism or anything, but because there's so much information that like or quote unquote information that can be disseminated in these formats that look legitimate, and it's so easy to like quickly share it. I mean, you can just see like a meme that someone will share that's just like a graph that came from who knows where. Like they could have just like photoshopped it right then, but it looks legitimate enough that anyone who sees it could be like, oh, well, I didn't know that, and
So
now,
more of the
and now
story,
they believe
do,
that.
do your homework before passing anything off as actual information. If it's a factual thing and it seems like you've gotten some factual things that have come true in the world or are true in the world, then that's great. Please feel free to share it with the rest of us. But please do your research before sharing that stuff with everybody, because you never know who is going to buy that and who is actually going to... That might cause harm somewhere.
And if you don't want to like research it or whatever, like hold your own beliefs on whatever you want, but please don't get all sanctimonious when someone disagrees with you over it. Like calling people sheeple and saying that they need to wake up and that everyone's asleep and stuff is just so ignorant. It doesn't broker like any good discussions or like actual dialogue. It just it's basically just a way of going like, well, you're brainwashed and I'm right, so whatever you have to say is wrong.
Yeah. So stop doing that.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about some of the new music releases that have come out, because there's actually been quite a few in the past. Can you pull up Realm of Metal real quick? The new Acacia Strain album dropped, which I've been super stoked on because it's, just like them and ridiculously heavy. So if anyone's interested in shit like that, check that out for sure. There's some new At the Gates material out, which I was telling these guys that I had listened to right before, or it was a couple hours before coming here, and it's actually right there, At War with Reality. And it was honestly really good, but I couldn't remember. It wasn't like something that really struck me as amazing or anything like that. So if you're into At the Gates and you want to hear what they sound like now, which is pretty much exactly how they sounded way back when.
Oh, that's it.
Then yeah,
Fuck, that was amazing.
Yeah, check that out. I've been riding their dicks for a little bit, but if you haven't checked out the new Fallujah album, please go and check that out. That's The Flesh Prevails. That's an amazing new death metal album. Oh, and now we have other member here.
Brandon, get out of here. We're doing the podcast.
So now, actually, I think we gotta go.
Chair, Brandon.
We are whole.
Hello.
Yep. We chat a little bit about this. Yeah, new releases. I told Brandon, not the one that just walked in. But,
Who? The
Brandon.
No,
Beans
there's
Brandon.
two.
Yep.
Beans Brandon.
Yep.
First Brandon.
Yep.
Brandon number 1.
Yep.
Double B.
Sure.
Whatever.
What new album?
I've been listening to a lot of the new Mastodon album.
Yeah, around the sun.
Yeah,
Oh,
Once more around the sun.
yeah, once more around the sun.
I fucking love that album. It rocks. It's
If you're
great.
interested in hearing some stuff that's not metal, R&B singer Banks put out a new album, and that's really, really awesome.
Banks.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And
If you wanna know
something
about-
else. Churches. It's like
Through the Eyes of the Dead is coming out with a new album, dude. I'm fucking
Really?
stoked for
they've
that.
been teasing that for like 3 years now.
but no, the thing is, here a couple months back, they were doing a shirt sale.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
the
shirt was fucking awesome.
And then if you buy the shirt, you got a free track off the new album, and like, yeah,
What's this?
Monstrosity's got a new album coming out.
Yep. If you're interested in what Brandon was playing when the podcast opened,
that's some super ignorant hip hop, and his name is Stitches.
it's just fucking awful.
It's probably the worst rap you will ever hear. And if
and-
you get offended
yeah.
by a white guy using the N-word, then don't apply, because he uses it very
and
frequently.
do yourself a
riff
favor
raff.
if you decide to listen to it. Don't just listen to the audio. Like, look up a music video.
The music video says volumes.
It adds so much to the entertainment
Oh,
value.
that's
If
right.
there's a-
Primus came out with a new album,
Did they?
The Chocolate Factory.
I might get under some people's skin in saying that I think Primus is supremely overrated.
Yeah, I'm on that side
I
of the fence
do
too.
not think they write fucking good music at all. They write really, really...
Have you ever
interesting
fried
stuff.
to Primus? You ever like shroomed or like
Fuck
fried?
no.
Dude, sailing the
No.
seas of cheese is like
Sailing the seas of cheese.
Yeah, dude.
I rest my fucking case.
when they're going.
Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it.
What in the
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, Primus sucks. Primus fucking
Les
sucks.
Claypool is a badass.
He's a really talented bass player. I will not take anything away from that dude. He is fucking an amazing musician.
Alright.
But that band writes terrible
Dancing
songs.
Pop is a good one. Ballad of Bodacious. Here you come, Bodacious. He's bound to set it ground. Yeah.
Oh man.
Just pop your head, Brandon. It's,
I am.
it's okay.
Bodacious. Who's gonna set it down? Look out for Bodacious. He's bound to set it
Show
ground.
Show tomorrow and next week.
No one can hear you.
I know, but
We already talked about the show.
no.
Yo, we have a show tomorrow.
Show tomorrow in Warm Springs.
This probably won't even go up in time.
Show tomorrow
the
for those of you listening a month from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warm Springs, Enslave the Creation, Hemlock, Us,
American Sideshow, Death Agenda,
Damage Overdose.
Boo 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 boos and shotgun
Doobity
bow
boom boom.
chucker and
fucking angry lawn gnome shit on a brick.
I'm excited for some fry bread, y'all.
Yeah, I'm excited for food and stuff like that. Go down there.
Fry bread.
Fry bread.
I don't know what that is.
It's like instead of baked bread, it's fried.
what are you doing there?
Fried bread.
I was just gonna use Primus, man.
Yeah, dude.
We can do. What'd you have?
What-
Just another Stitches.
Oh.
Go for it. All right.
How
Well,
about we
we
just make our
we
own
gotta go
outro?
practice. We gotta go practice. So
Look at
goodbye.
that spike.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
It's a really short podcast. Fat getting fucked in the butt by Wookie.